Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH BaHashem, YAHAWASHI BaHashem, Rakwak Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to the mighty Akim Wakwapim, who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this found captivity, as well as the speckled bird that may look like the other nations, but are actually Yasharallah. This is Brother Kawakub coming at you with another lesson. Today's lesson, this is going to be a bit of a rant because I genuinely and absolutely hate this shit. This topic is the dumbest and the most infuriating shit I always have to hear people talk about, because it's insulting. It's insulting. Plain, at the end of the day, it's insulting. All right. Now, what I'm talking about, as you see the title, we so-called black people. All right, there is a fucking difference. All right, there's a difference between a so-called black person and a so-called African. All right, we are not African, and I fucking hate hearing people call us that. No, I don't care that other people call us that. I will take that. I'll accept that. I will. If I have to put on whatever job application or whatever survey, whatever, what's your ethnicity? I'll put African American, in African Canadian, African, whatever. All right, I'll put African. If it just says you can only put African and whatnot, I will put that shit wherever. All right, my issue is so-called black people fighting and holding on to that shit as if these goddamn Africans had ever did jack shit for us. They've never done anything for us. They're the ones that sold our asses into slavery in the first place. And yet you have these stupid ass dick riding jakes that hold on to this shit and want to say, oh, I'm African, I'm this, blah, whatever. And they are tying their identities to these, as Uncle Ruckus would say. Okay, let me cool it on the fucking on the thing, but you basically understand what I'm about to say. All right, I think that's like the best way to put it. All right, this shit is so infuriating, and it is an insult, and it's a spit in the face to our true heritage of being children of YAHAWAH. All right, because if you are an Israelite, if you claim to be an Israelite, then you should already know that claiming or repping ham or African, all right, is already a slight against YAHAWAH, because the Lord is not dealing with no Hamites. All right, now of course, I need to make this known that, of course, that there are some Israelites in Africa. Sure, I think it's Nigeria, or what was it, West Africa, that's primarily Israelites and stuff like that. Okay, sure, cool, that's fine. But the main thing is how you have jakes that completely identify daishiki and all that crap, stuff like that, with, oh, I am a 100% African, whatever, and stuff like that. Like, that's the type of stuff that I absolutely hate. And genuinely, again, as I said before, it is an insult to YAHAWAH, because the Lord, He did not make you a Hamite or an African. All right, people, especially people say, "Oh, I'm Egyptian, I'm this, that, I'm Pharaoh," and stuff like that. That shit is so annoying. You think that the best fucking thing for you is to be a freaking Pharaoh, a freaking Egyptian Hamitic name for a king. All right, Exodus chapter. Now, have you seen this? You've seen this. All right, Exodus chapter 11 verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Now, it's like, bro, obviously, well, first of all, this is kind of this kind of goes to show that what's it called? The Israelites were not no white rice-skinned people. How the fuck would what's his name, Joseph, be confused as an Egyptian if he was if he was dark skinned. All right, the Israelites are if he was rice skinned, all right, rice skinned as in white skinned. But basically, the thing here is that the Israelites were dark skinned as well. All right, that's how it's like. Okay, well, they basically gotta look the same and stuff like that because, again, this is if you know about the geography and stuff like that. Basically, the closer a place is to the equator, the less likely it's going to get heat. It's kind of like in what's it called, Mexico, fucking Florida, Texas, and stuff like that. Those places barely get any snow. I actually think that they don't get any snow at all. Don't quote me on that. I wouldn't know. All right, but basically, the thing about them is just that this is, and on top of that, you have Africa as well. Africa and Egypt is pretty high up on Africa, and it's pretty close to the equator comparatively. And then as a result of that, yeah, it doesn't get much snow. It's going to be hot. So in those hot climates, all right. Their skin tends to be darker in order to be able to withstand the rays of the sun, just naturally. I think what's it called? Adaptively, they adapt to their environment and stuff like that. So for the Egyptians to be white, like that's insane. As well as the Israelites, especially when they clearly had similar skin color as is what is implied in this. Just the same as let's say Chinese and Japanese. There's definitely a difference somewhere that I'm not that fucking familiar with. All right. Anyway, continuing on. Well, actually, I think most people. Well, no. That is a lie. Slocky. That was an absolute lie. But I mean, I guess I've seen, some the faces of them and stuff like that. I can see the subtle difference. And I do mean subtle differences, especially between Koreans. I think Koreans, they tend to have more, smoother features compared to the other ones. Anyway, irrelevant, but my point still stands where I hate how, and that's the thing, Jake is so desperate for identity, and the thing is that they Slocky, trying to remember this. Let me get this. It was Second Corinthians 4 verse 18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are seen are eternal. And that's the thing where our people, they are so fixated on wanting validation from something that is physical rather than, and something that they can see rather than something that is not seen. So there may be an Israelite that says, "Oh yeah, I believe I'm an Israelite. I know I'm an Israelite," but yet they still hold to that whole African stuff. And that's another thing with the whole black only Israelite thing, where I don't know the full extent of it, but maybe there might be some Israelites that think, "Oh yeah, I think all Africans are Israelites and whatnot," and just the whatever, because there's a lot of different subsections of Israelites that kind of get to change their doctrine and whatnot. So some might think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this and whatnot, I'm gonna do that or whatever, and as a result of that, rather than holding true to what they are, which is a spiritual heritage, which not spiritual heritage in a way, it kind of is but kind of is not, but the value is mostly in the spirit. It is a physical heritage, of course. Being Israelite is based off your blood, of course, but in terms of the promises and stuff like that, that's, and a lot of the actual heritage, that is what's spiritual, as well as the practices and so on. So as a result of that, that's where we have this. All right. So, as I was saying, the whole thing with the whole holding on to African stuff, I do not like it. Next, Romans 8 verse 16, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh. And that's the thing where if you are truly a believer, if you truly a follower of Yahweh, Yahawashi, you're going to take this extremely seriously, in the sense of like, I'm going to follow and do as best as I can to follow what the Lord said, the Lord Yahawah's words, rather than let me follow through with what these African teachings are. All right. And again, as I said before, I see so many Jakes have so much time invested in that, and it's so disgusting and ugly to see. All right. I hate seeing this type of shit. All right. You're looking for guidance. You're looking for power, security, whatever, from man rather than Yahawadah. All right. And again, as I said before, I just can't, and I'm repeating myself, yes, but I do not like it. Anyway, continuing on, John chapter 8 verse 44, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And I'm not really saying that the Hamites are the devil. I'm really just trying to take this and take this and use this as a parallel. Basically, the thing here is that for people in Babylon, they follow after Babylonian customs and Babylonian practices. Basically, that whole do as thou wilt spirit. And as a result of that, they copy Esau, Edom. So that Esau, the devil, becomes their father. And in that same sense, that's what we are also seeing Jake do with with the Africans, where you have Jakes that say, oh, well, I love African. Oh, I'm Africa, mommy Africa, blah, 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 whatever. And then they go and make Hamites their new father, where they take after and copy the practices of the Africans instead of what's it called, which again, that's still not good. Like, why are you, again, rather than sticking to your own practices of being an Israelite, why are you going after, why do you have to copy someone that is evil? Or why do you have to copy copy these people that sold us into slavery? Why do you have to? It's like you're trying to copy, these carnal figures rather than copying what the scriptures said, which is, let's actually get that. Let me get that. I highly doubt this is it. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 21, for even here unto were ye called, because the Mashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps. So Yahawashi left us an example, following, reading the scriptures, reading what Yahawashi did, how he fought through all his temptations, and I believe it was what chapter was it? It was Matthew 4 or Matthew 4, I believe, where the devil took him up and said, turn this rock into bread or whatever, since you're hungry and whatnot. And he denied it. Okay. And in that same sense, you have to be able to do the exact same thing. We're like, okay, well, I know I'm tempted to do this, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay true to what Yahawadah wants me to do. All right. And that's the example that we're supposed to be following. But people don't want to do that. All right. They would much rather follow along and do whatever they want, and they have to see something physical. You shouldn't be trying to look for something that's physical for your guidance. You should be looking only to Yahawadah. All right. Next, let's go. Judges chapter 10 verse 14, go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen, let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. And that's the thing where I cannot feel sorry for people like this, because when the time comes for Yahawadah to send his judgment, ain't no feeling sorry for these people, okay? Because you chose to invest time worshiping whatever God, whatever heritage that was not your own. Okay, and that's literally, isn't that what's it called? I forgot the term. Not blasphemy, but that was basically the thing that got King Solomon to bug out, where King Solomon was serving these other gods and stuff like that. All right, because of his different women from different ethnicities. You're basically doing the exact same thing, but minus the whole minus the whole wife thing. Or maybe yes, you are. Maybe you are in a relationship and someone else is leading you to doing that shit. All right, but again, like that's the thing where you just need to distance yourself from certain things. Okay, and that's the thing where, let me get this as well. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 7, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Where people, they're so willing to learn all these different other stuff, but they can't learn and know, what does YAHAWASHI want from me? How do I best serve YAHAWASHI? But instead of that, it's just, oh, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that, and whatever. I'm gonna study the African history and stuff like that. And again, it's just like, you're learning all these different things, but there's no room in there for the scriptures. There's no room in there for the word of Yahawadah. All right. Next is Exodus chapter 34 verse 14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord whose name is jealous is a jealous God. So Yahawadah is a jealous power, and when he sees you spending time worshiping all these other gods and stuff, he's taking notes on that. All right, like that's not a good thing. All right, you and again, you have to understand that there is a balance to, you know, certain hobbies and stuff like that, as well as what's the word, a blatant disregard for, you know, what actually matters, as well as your heritage. I think that's like the best way to put it. And really, in all honesty, for you to not really understand and not really pay attention to these important things, it's again, as I said before, it is disrespectful and it's been the face, because you come into the truth. You know that you're an Israelite. Let's give that as an example. You know that you're an Israelite, and instead of spending time, you're learning more on what an Israelite is, you would rather say, oh, I'm gonna get in touch with my quote unquote roots and go back to freaking African studies and stuff like that, rather than studying and learning about Yahawadah. And again, that goes into serving other gods, as well as serving, not having your allegiance fully set on Yahawadah, because the thing is that you are replacing your time of studying. Because I think a better thing to say is like this: like, if you, why would you, let's say you're a so-called African American, okay, let's just use that as an example. Rather than studying and learning about how you got here or your history, instead you're learning about, let's say, China, like China's history and stuff like that. Why would you do that when you don't know anything about yourself? But you love China so much, you're going to spend all your time studying and learning about China, but you don't know anything about yourself. Like, do you see the issue with that? Like, do you see how weird and awkward that is? All right. So as a result of that, it's just something to like think, like, why would you want to do that? Why would you put all your time and effort into something that has nothing to do with you, and you should know it has nothing to do with you, okay, regardless if you're an Israelite or not, because the Africans, they do not like so-called black people. But yeah, as It's just a little rant. I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, Hashem, YAHAWASHI, Hashem, Rakwak, Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great middle son of Baba, and Shalom.